Let's take a look at traditional training methods. Broadly speaking, trainers can use traditional methods, including lectures and discussions, or experimental methods, where trainees learn through doing. Lectures represent one of the most widely used and traditional teaching methods. It's based on the assumption that the person giving the lecture is an expert and the listeners are there to record and absorb what the lecturer says. They are considered more effective when the content of instruction is largely declarative, meaning they emphasize basic knowledge acquisition as opposed to higher order outcomes like problem solving. Lectures represent mainly one-way communication. Often, other instruction methods are employed. At a minimum, generally some combination of Blackboard or computer visuals, handouts, and questions. Trainers choose to use lectures as their method of instruction for many reasons. First, lectures represent an efficient way to disseminate a large amount of information. Learning the appropriate pace for a lecture is important. Discussions are frequently used to supplement lectures. Discussions are a good way to involve trainees in the learning process. While it's easy to have a discussion, it can be difficult to have a good one. Among the first things that trainers should think about is whether the topic is appropriate and the trainees are prepared to engage in a discussion. Discussions are good when trainers want to explore the nuances in a topic or want their trainees to engage in critical thinking. While traditional methods are common and represent useful ways to provide instruction, there's an increasing interest in teaching individuals in more engaging ways. Instruction that is fully experimental comprises four stages: concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. When deciding which method to use, several factors facilitate that decision. Broadly speaking, trainers can use traditional methods, including lectures and discussions, or experimental methods, which trainees learn through doing. Experimental learning methods rely heavily on an effective debrief. Debriefs are a special type of discussion, addressed here separately because of when to use them as part of training and development activities. Debriefing participants after completing an exercise confirms the learning that took place in the activity. Debriefs also provide an opportunity for participants to reflect upon what they've just experienced, which deepens their understanding. Cases represent a common method of instruction. In fact, some collegiate courses and even some graduate programs teach exclusively using the case method. Cases involve trainees reading and analyzing a situation. The trainees then engage in developing alternative solutions to the problem or situation presented. The simplest explanation for role plays is that they involve trainees acting out a scenario to better understand a concept or how to handle a situation. Trainers who choose role plays need to make two key choices. First, whether to use scripted or unscripted role plays, and second, whether participation should be modeled or participatory. In-basket activities, a form of situational judgment tests, combine elements of both cases and role plays. While they're commonly accepted for organizational selection, research has shown situational judgment tests are effective for training purposes. In some ways, in-baskets are like mini cases, but after analyzing the situations, individuals need to take some action. However, in-baskets are not full role plays because there's not another person to interact with and there's not a full script. In many instances, trainers use games as icebreakers, short activities used at the beginning of training sessions to help everyone be engaged. Simulations are designed to replicate real-world situations and to be interactive. The goal is for the person in the simulation experience to have real-time impact on decisions and actions. Because of their complexity, simulations can be difficult and expensive to both create and use. However, they may be the best way to train and develop individuals when the needed skill or ability is critical to success and survival. When deciding which methods to use, several factors facilitate the decision. When deciding which training method to use, several factors facilitate that decision. This course provides an overview of all the instructional methods, as well as reminders on when to use each method and its relative advantage and disadvantage. Use lecture when the learning goal is informational. Lectures allow the presentation of a breadth of material and can accommodate many trainees. Lectures result in passive trainees, and their concern is with focus and motivation. Use discussions to engage participation in problem solving. When you want to engage trainees, discussions can result in unequal participation, and trainees may get sidetracked on their other issues. Cases focus on problem identification and diagnosis. Cases draw on the knowledge and experience of trainees, but trainees may also get sidetracked with other issues. Use role plays when you want to develop interpersonal skills. Role play provides the opportunity to practice feedback, but trainees may not take role plays seriously, and they need enough information for it to be helpful. Use an in-basket exercise to focus on communication style and problem resolution. With in-baskets, you can cover several subjects, but because there's no one-way or two-way interaction, the learning will depend on a good debrief. Use games to engage trainees for fun or for demonstrating the impact of a business decision. Depending on the game, the cost or ratio of time spent to the knowledge gained may be a disadvantage. Use simulations when trainees need to learn how to handle complex or high-risk situations. They provide real-life experiences without risk, but the cost of development in the use may be prohibitive. Of course, the instructional methods presented here do not constitute all options available for trainers to use. For example, on-the-job training and e-learning are other options that might be effective. Choosing the right method matters for great training. In addition to training methods, it's helpful to supplement them with instructional aids to support learning. There are two main reasons to encourage the use of instructional aids. First, communicating information in different ways helps to summarize and reinforce the main instructional method. Second, individuals have different preferences for learning, and some methods may not work well for everyone. For example, traditional methods of instruction primarily benefit auditory learners. Through technology, the fundamental instructional method remains the same. The statement is also true when it comes to instructional aids. Many people are accustomed to PowerPoint presentation as a primary instructional aid, and PowerPoint is simply a software package that can be replaced. Prezi is a more recent software package that's growing in popularity. FLIPCHARTS have been a popular option among trainers. FLIPCHARTS were particularly useful when a trainer was unaware of whether the room would be used contained blackboards, whiteboards, or other computer equipment. FLIPCHARTS provide an easy, transported item that can be utilized to write down main points or discussion topics. Depending on instructor preference, laptops and portable projectors may be used instead. FLIPCHARTS also aid in learning exercises that involve breaking up training participants into smaller groups. Groups can easily write down their ideas or results to share with others in the training. Videos provide a distinct change of pace and are usually very popular with trainees and can be very engaging. Videos can be used to present some or all of the information needed for a case method of instruction. Videos can provide richer context in less time than it would take someone to read or lecture. In this way, videos address trainees who'd prefer auditory and visual learning. Videos can also be utilized for behavioral modeling. When used for this purpose, a video can help trainees develop interpersonal skills and are consistent with kinesthetic approaches to learning. Specialized videos are good to use because they have either been selected or produced to support a learning objective, so they usually clearly relate to the topic being trained. If you need a video, a source of relatively high-quality videos, which tends to balance access and relatedness, is TED.com. Asking questions is vital to learning. There are a lot of ways and reasons to ask questions during the delivery of training. When we think about confirming understanding, asking questions works in both directions. Participants need to ask questions in order to make sure they understand and learn the material. You may have been reluctant to ask a question because you were concerned the answer would be too obvious. Keep in mind that at least one other person in the room likely has the same question, and they'll be thankful that you asked it. Trainers also appreciate when participants ask questions because it provides ongoing feedback. Depending on the nature of the question asked, trainers will know how well they're communicating a concept. Questions encourage engagement. The act of asking a question involves trainees in the process of learning. Answering questions shifts trainees from being passive to being more active learners. Questions are also meant to get trainees more interested or involved with a concept. Even if trainees are not answering questions out loud, the goal is to have them answer mentally. A special version of engagement question is known as a hook. Hooks are usually asked at the beginning of a session or a new topic. The goal of a hook is to get trainees thinking and wanting to know more about the training topic. When it comes to the mechanics of asking questions, trainers must make two key decisions. One decision is whether to ask a closed or open-ended question. When the question is closed, the trainer is looking for a specific answer. A second consideration is whether to target or lob it. Trainers want to target questions in terms of a particular trainee. Lobbed questions are presented to the class as a whole, and anyone is free to answer. When these decisions are combined, they result in 4 types of questions. While there are reasons to ask each type of question, trainer preference is a major determinant of which will be utilized. One important difference among these types of questions is how trainees respond to them. Of the 4 types of questions, trainees tend to dislike those categorized as quizzing, which are closed and targeted. This combination means that the trainer calls on a specific participant and has a specific answer in mind. These types of questions can make a trainee feel pressured. Trainers who want to verify understanding without pressuring trainees have the option of asking confirming questions. They're still looking for a specific answer because the question is still closed, but they don't target a specific person. One reason that trainers like to ask open-ended questions is that they're very good in terms of engaging trainees. We call open-ended and lobbed questions provoking here because they encourage trainees to think further on a topic. Where provoking questions help get trainees to think, involving questions are designed to get trainees to participate. One reason that trainees use involving questions is to engage trainees who otherwise say little. While this could also be achieved with a quizzing question, it's better to ask an involving one because it's less likely to make trainees anxious.